Don in London, hello. April 1st, 2010, a new month, and a further development in the daily reflections I share here on YouTube, Facebook and all over the place actually. I don't know where these videos end up in the end. Out of my control, powerless over where they end up. They're all about recovery from addiction to either substance or behaviour. My addictive substance, alcohol, my behaviour, well, equally as addictive to work, relationships, people, places, things, collecting, materialism, and excuse me, as we move along in the discovery of how to live sober, we have 12 steps to help us. That is, those who are in the fellowship of AA, Alcoholics Anonymous. And I don't speak for AA, never can, never will. Hooray! Hooray! You need more voices than one to get an understanding of what is the fellowship of AA. You need to hear the voices of everyone you can meet who might be part of it. And the only way to do that is to really go to meetings and find out how people do get sober one day at a time. So, why is April important to me? Well, it's the 4th month and the 4th step in the 12-step action program to change our attitude and behaviour to live well as can be, given our life circumstances and our life experiences. So April, step 4, all about making an inventory of how we were, our assets and liabilities. And the actual 4th step reads, it's very simple, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. And when we do these inventories of ourselves, it's like an appraisal that we might get at work, where we're asked to look at our good points and our, what we call areas of development. So assets and liabilities, defects and, I suppose, what's the other word? What's the opposite of defects? Effectiveness, maybe. Yeah, we do like to measure ourselves, but the whole point of step 4, the moral inventory, is to understand where our emotional base is, so we get our spiritual connection to living in the moment. So if we've never done an appraisal of what made us the way we were, how did we feel about it, and what can we do? Step 4 can seem a bit daunting, but it's not. It's an honest appraisal of what's happened, our history and how we reacted to it, or what was the reaction. And for me over the years, when I didn't understand life, I wanted to fix myself. And the easiest way to fix my feelings was to take a drink. So, alcoholic in recovery, one day at a time. And step 4, I sort of relished the idea, but I needed to understand step 1, 2 and 3 first. So once I understood I was powerless over alcohol, and if I drank again life would get unmanageable, that I could be restored to sanity on a daily basis by the collective good of living, or God or good conscience, depending on one's belief, and that I could let go and let good things happen again if I were able to improve my attitude and behaviour, to have a bit more courage, faith and confidence to face the day, rather than fear, put a brave face on and utilise my ego, which for me, ego is a very thin veneer covering a great big emptiness inside, which is really not knowing what is good for me. So when I came to the fellowship of AA, I wasn't quite sure what it was all about and how it might help me just get sober again, because 24/7 drinking, wanting to be dead or wanting never to wake up, not quite sure where I was in all of that, but not wanting to wake up on a daily basis, and then suddenly finding there were a bunch of people who actually relished waking up in the morning, no matter what was going to happen, be it good or bad, simply because they had a bit more courage and faith and confidence on a daily basis. So this step 4 process. But before I go there, I want to share the AA preamble, which is on this little card, freely available in meetings normally, if they have any money for literature. But some meetings are poor, and some meetings have got a bit of money for literature. AA is self-supporting, as you'll hear just now. So AA, what is it? This is the Statement of Intent, or AA Preamble. Alcoholics Anonymous is a fellowship of men and women who share their experience, strength and hope with each other, that they may solve their common problem and help others to recover from alcoholism. The only requirement for membership is a desire to stop drinking. There are no dues or fees for AA membership. We are self-supporting through our own contributions. AA is not allied with any sect, denomination, politics, organisation or institution, does not wish to engage in any controversy, neither endorses nor opposes any causes. Our primary purpose is to stay sober and help other alcoholics to achieve sobriety. Simple as that, a desire to stop drinking, and then how to, and then share with experience, strength and hope. And we all need a broad outlook in that respect. So this might be a little stopgap for somebody who can't get to a meeting, or somebody thinking about maybe sober life might have something in it. Anyway, step 4, April, which is covered in the Daily Reflections, which is here, this book. One reflection a day, all about step 4, or the tradition 4. And I'll cover that in a minute if I've got time. But in this book, the 12 steps and 12 traditions, this is the small version. I've got 2 other versions, an even smaller version for taking around with me when I've got a bit of free time to remind myself of living the steps of AA, or living the steps of life. And it says for step 4, it's really important for me to just share this. It says here, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Creation gave us instincts for a purpose. Without them we wouldn't be complete human beings. If men and women didn't exert themselves to be secure in their persons, made no effort to harvest food or construct shelter, there would be no survival. If they didn't reproduce, the earth wouldn't be populated. If there were no social instinct, if men cared nothing for the society of one another, then there would be no society. So these desires for sex relations, for material and emotional security, and for companionship are perfectly necessary and right, and surely God-given, or as nature and providence has developed our understanding. Yet these instincts, so necessary for our existence, often far exceed their proper functions. Powerfully, blindly, many times subtly, they drive us, dominate us, and insist upon ruling our lives. Our desires for sex, for material and emotional security, and for an important place in society often tyrannize us. When thus out of joint, man's natural desires cause him great trouble, practically all the trouble there is. No human being, however good, is exempt from these troubles. Nearly every serious emotional problem can be seen as a cause of misdirected instinct. When that happens, our great natural assets, the instincts, have turned into physical and mental liabilities. So in other words, it's okay to have all these drives that we get from nature, and surely they are God-given, but if they're out of balance, and if we're an addict in recovery, we know where it took us, filling the empty gap inside which we weren't sure about, full of fear, needing some confidence, and fixing ourselves with substance or behaviour. So when he talks about, for April 1st in this book, Daily Reflections, looking within, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves, step 4 is the vigorous and painstaking effort to discover what liabilities in each of us has been and are. I want to exactly know how, when and where my natural desires will have warped me. In other words, they're out of proportion. I wish to look squarely at the unhappiness this has caused others and myself. By discovering what my emotional deformities are, or defects as they are often called, I can move toward their correction. Without a willing and persistent effort to do this, there can be little sobriety or contentment for me. So it's essential. To resolve ambivalent feelings, I need to feel a strong and helpful sense of myself. Such awareness doesn't happen overnight, and no one's self-awareness is permanent. Everyone has the capacity for growth and for self-awareness, through an honest encounter with reality. When I don't avoid issues but meet them directly, always trying to resolve them, they become fewer and fewer. So we go through the inventory in order to find serenity, and it does take time, but along the way that serenity prayer helps me on a daily basis, to the good or God of your understanding. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, like hooting horns, courage to change the things I can, like me, and the wisdom to know the difference is just for today.